Hey, this is Kyle Crover from Strong Dads. Strong Dads wants to thank Crimer Beer House for sponsoring today's Strong Dads podcast. The beer house was started in 1982 by the Crimer family. Since that time, they have become a Cincinnati favorite. If you're looking for an incredible meal and an incredible setting, you have to try Crimer's Beer House down on Route 128 in Cleves, Ohio. All right, hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Strong Dads here with Merle. We got another special guest in the house, and I say special guest. I'm
going to write that down. Timmy, you might want to write that down too.
Yeah, he's never. I've been called a lot of things from Kyle. Special is not. That's not true. But yes, anyways, my brother Timmy Crofford is in the house. Timmy, how you doing?
I can't wait for this interview. I'm going to get some dirt on you.
Oh yeah,
that's Timmy, a whole different show. We can go for hours on that.
All right, well maybe we'll just talk the important stuff.
All right,
then.
that's good. Thank you. I don't need anybody else to team up with me. I can see Merle getting Timmy on his team.
My eyes were like,
I'm already on Team Merle. It doesn't take anything.
That's not very nice. But yeah, so anyways, I brought my brother Timmy here. I asked Merle if we can have him on, and I think it's going to be a good show. Hopefully we get some good takeaways. One of the big reasons I thought it'd be really cool to have Timmy on our show. We've kind of danced around the topic and talked about professionalism and kind of having that bringing Christ into the workplace a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I thought it'd be really cool to bring Timmy. Timmy is in a leadership role. Currently works for a restaurant group and has been there for off and on 10, 12 years.
Oh, 13 years.
13 years.
There was a 6-month period where I wasn't there, and the grass is always greener, and then you realize
you strayed out into the desert for a few months,
and it felt like that. So I'm home and I'm where I'm supposed to be. But yeah, it's been 13 years.
Wow. Okay. So I thought it'd be cool to have Timmy to on our show to talk a little bit about kind of the leadership role in his workforce, kind of what that looks like. So Timmy is my younger brother, but
that's obvious just from looking at the two.
Oh yeah. There's always a but though. The problem is a lot of times people mistaken say that Timmy's my older brother, and I partially put that on the fact that Timmy is much more mature than I am.
I was going to say it's maturity. It's not.
It's definitely maturity. But yeah, so Timmy definitely, although my younger brother is definitely more mature than I am. And Timmy is definitely someone that I've looked up to for quite a while now. And Timmy is the type of person that when he walks in the room, he just lights up the room with his attitude. He has an amazing smile. So definitely somebody that I would say is a stand-up man, is an unbelievable father. He has 2 beautiful little girls, and we'll get into that a little bit. So Timmy has this cool moral compass where we could be sitting around the dinner table talking about Jesus, talking about life, family, having a great conversation, and then the next minute we'll go outside and we'll be shooting hoops, and it's game on.
Getting down and dirty. Yeah. Wait, who's the better ball player?
Oh boy,
the show just went sideways.
Kyle is a better athlete, but he's not beating me in basketball. So that's the way I would put it. And what he described, like those nice things he said about me, I've never heard him say those things. So he gave a toast at my wedding, and it wasn't that nice. It was take that, and like the exact opposite.
Man, you are nasty at the wedding.
No. But anyways, Timmy, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, Tim, thanks for joining us.
For sure.
It's good. And, sometimes it's good for us to get people that we know that feel comfortable talking with us about various things. And one of the things that we are going to talk about is your faith. And not just everybody's willing to talk about their faith. A lot of people talk about their job or talk about an adventure that they did or whatever. But to talk about their faith and how that is incorporated into their job and into their life and everything, that sometimes takes a different level of comfort. So we just want to thank you for feeling comfortable enough to come in here. We hope you feel comfortable enough when you leave that it wasn't...
I had to bribe him to actually come on. I had to tell him I'll buy him dinner.
Did you?
Yeah, that was the only way I can get him to come on.
All right.
Or at least sit in a room with you. So.
Thanks a lot. All right, so we're going to get going to our ads here. How about that?
Yes.
I'd like to thank Strong Dads wants to thank Crimer's Beer House for sponsoring today's Strong Dads podcast. The Beer House was started in 1982 by the Crimer family. Since that time, they have become a Cincinnati favorite. If you are looking for an incredible meal in an incredible setting, you have to try Crimer's Beer House. They're located down on Route 128 in Cleves, Ohio.
All right, and we also definitely want to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency. We had Jim on our show last week, so if you haven't checked out that show, definitely listen to that. The Mansfield Insurance Agency is in Bright, Indiana, and we really appreciate them for sponsoring today's Strong Dads podcast. The Mansfield Insurance Agency was established in 1981, and they have been dedicated to individuals and business in Bright, Indiana, and they serve all clients throughout Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. So thanks so much for Mansfield Insurance Agency and Crimer's Beer House for coming alongside of us.
All right, very good. So you already gave a little bit of background on Tim, but let's go a little bit deeper with that, especially with you guys being brothers. Let's talk a little bit about just I'll say the magnitude or whatever of your job, your occupation. I'll let you talk of that.
Well, it's funny when people talk about my current position. So essentially, I'm the chief operating officer of a restaurant group, but my direct position is I'm a director of operations of one of our concepts. So I work in our La Rosa's company. We have 5 La Rosa's. We also have Skyline Chili, which is what I started in as a 16-year-old kid. So when we talk about like the magnitude of my position, or it's funny to me when I think about where I am, because I started in the back of the restaurant doing dishes. And a lot of the leaders in our company started as servers and hosts and cooks and dishwashers. So that's one of the really cool things about our company, and people realize that quickly. They see the opportunity.
Well, that speaks highly of the office that you work for, or whatever. I mean, you don't work for La Rosa directly. You work for a
correct.
Group
So we're franchisee of those concepts.
So those folks must be good folks if you're working there when you're 16 and you continue to want to be part of that when you're at your age now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a fun ride, and I spoke about it just a minute. There was a time after college I graduated, and you think you know everything after you graduate, and it's just I would never have thought I'd be doing what I'm doing today. But so much of what we do in our life and specifically in work is who you surround yourself with, and who you see those people interact with, and how you want to emulate that. So the leadership of not just my position but of my organization, I would say has played a major part in who I am today.
So. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So Timmy, for all of our listeners that are unaware of the company that you work for, you guys have a total of how many different concepts, how many different restaurants are under the title of the Holland Marketing?
So we have 4 total concepts: Skyline, La Rosa's, First Watch Cafes. We operate in Lexington and Louisville, and then we just started Dunkin' Donuts. So,
okay.
Well, it's Dunkin', no donuts, just
That's
Dunkin'.
Right, just Dunkin'. Although I still do see some of their print with the donut.
Oh yeah. Oh no, absolutely. Their donuts are awesome.
Yeah. So are us being in the Cincinnati tri-state area, not all of your stores are around here. Some of them, like you said, are in Lexington, Louisville, and those areas, right?
Yeah. So we have a lot of our Skylines are in Cincinnati, about half and half. We have 11 Skylines. The rest are in Northern Kentucky, and we have 1 in Lexington. But the La Rosas that I operate and oversee, they're all in Kentucky, 3 of them in Northern Kentucky, and then we just opened 2 last year in Lexington. So,
okay. Yeah.
So a little travel. Northern Kentucky stores are close to home, but I have spent a lot of time in Lexington too. So.
Yeah. Okay.
So in total, how many total employees do you actually oversee?
Yeah. So we have about 1,200 in our organization between all concepts. I'm probably in charge. I wouldn't say direct supervisor because I have other managers that directly supervise, but I'm in charge of about 400 employees. I'm responsible for the HR of the stores, the hiring, the training, the firing, unfortunately sometimes, procedures, streamlining those things. So I like to say that I'm on a first name basis with I would say probably 90-95% of them.
Really?
Some people get hired. We're very particular on who gets hired. So there's only a select few. For about 1,200 employees, there's only about probably 8 people that are granted the privilege to hire. So we want to have an intimate interview process just to make sure that, hey, you're the right person for this job.
Yeah. So will you actually interview a kid who could be a dishwasher at the local La Rosa's or whatever.
Absolutely. And I love using my story where it's just like, hey, you're going to start as a dishwasher when you're 16. Guess what? I did the same thing. So when
that's
you
awesome
start
for them to see, because they're like, really?
Yeah, that's probably one of the things that I've been able to talk about the most is just putting yourself in people's position, where it's just like, I am a real person. I make mistakes. They see my flaws. It's like I can call about 20 of my managers and they can tell you all about my flaws. They've seen me kind of, move into new positions, but also, hey man, I know his mistakes. And it wasn't like I'm like, oh, I'm perfect. I'm not going to be able to, move up without the help of others. So I think that's a really cool opportunity to be able to share that with people, where it's just like, hey, let's sit down during your review. Let me talk about where you can go. We call it like painting the picture for people.
Yeah.
Because these are the opportunities, and you got to stay humble. I talk about servant leadership a ton. Like that's probably my number one thing. People look at me like, why are you on the ground scrubbing floors? Why are you making pizzas on Friday night? It's because I want my people to realize, hey, this guy's going to do what he's going to ask me to do.
Right. So. Yeah.
And that's been something, I know you and I, we've talked a lot about this, and Merle, you may not know this. I used to be a manager at one of the Skyline Concept, or one of the stores, and actually hired Timmy.
Yeah.
And I was the one to put him in the back to be a dishwasher boy. And Merle,
and then he wanted to fire me after the first day.
After the first day, I was like, he's terrible. I'm done with him.
Why did you want to fire him? What did he do wrong?
Well, probably just because he's my brother. But now the funny thing is not too long ago, I still work for the same Skyline company, and Timmy technically was my boss. So how the tables had turned a little bit.
This is kind of like a story of like Joseph in the Bible, right? When all of the brothers come back and say, hey,
like, remember?
Remember that slavery that you sold me into?
Yes. But anyways, I have definitely, again, Tim and I, we've had a lot of conversations about the whole idea of servant leadership. And that has definitely been something that's kind of been a staple for Timmy in his career. He'll get asked all the time by my parents, like, why are you working these hours?
Yeah.
And I've even gotten on him a little bit about working those hours. And it's been something that he has held as kind of his that's what he stands for. And it's very evident in his work. I'm sure if you were to ask any of his employees, it would be very evident for just what he was talking about, that looking at him, someone in the position he's in, but why are you scrubbing the floors? And it's just been something that he's kind of taken with him. I've seen him grow and develop in his career and see that side of him. And I'm sure, Timmy, you can talk more about just how that's in your day-to-day operations. What does that servant leadership kind of look like for you?
Yeah, well, as an employee, you go in and you don't know anything, right? And like.
Even when you think you might.
Yeah. Like when you first start, you don't know anything. And we joke within our organization about we promote people a lot before they're ready. I was promoted before I was ready.
Yeah.
Still probably questioning, like, hey, man. But the key and the thing that I remember always taking with me and talking to people about is no one's going to work harder than me. So I may go in, I may not know, but like you give me a task, you tell me what to do, they're never going to question my motives.
Right.
I struggle a little, not so much in personal life, but in professional life, of this perception where you're this leader. You have to, you have to have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. It's like no one does.
Right.
But if somebody sees how hard you work and sees how much you care, they're going to be able to show you that grace, or they're going to be able to say, hey, this guy might not know all the answers, but he is going to have my back. And that's a big thing for me. So it's inconvenient at times,
right.
Where it's just like, hey, is this the first thing I want to do when I get into the store? No, but it's gotten me to the position I am. It's funny. I'll talk to people and they'll be like, well, now you're in this position. Do your hours change? Do you get to do less work? It's like, why would that make sense?
Right.
As you continue to grow in an organization, you should continue to do those things that got you there. So right. I tell people that all the time. You've been promoted. Don't act any different. Do what you are doing. And a lot of that is your work ethic, but also how you act and how you carry yourself. And
the job description changes, but not what you bring to the job. And I know this is not exactly the direction that a lot of our show is going to go today, but it just makes me think, because we've had other people talk about hiring younger kids, and I know in your world you hire a lot of younger kids. It may be their first job doing restaurant work and that type of thing. What's what are you looking for? I mean, because we're talking about a lot of work ethic stuff right here.
Yeah.
What are you looking for when these kids come in?
Yeah.
So whether you're going to sign off on the hire or not.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple things that go through my mind. So for starters, I think that younger generations get a bad they get a bad rep where it's just like, oh, they don't want to work hard. They don't want to earn with their instant gratification. Okay, right. It's like if you think you live in America and you don't suffer from the syndrome of wanting something right away, you're crazy. That's how we are. That's society. I just think that different generations are motivated differently, and it's my job as a manager. It's not the new generation's job to necessarily always conform. My job is to manage people differently, fairly. Everybody's managed fairly, but not the same. You can't manage people the same way.
I like that. I like that idea because honestly, I think. Also, the nature of the beast is as we get older, we always look back and say, "These kids today."
I'm guilty of it for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
But you're bringing up a very important point, especially if you're in a manager role. Your job is to be leading whoever comes through your door.
Absolutely.
So if you get stuck in one way and it's not working, if you look behind you, you're probably not leading anyone very well,
absolutely.
Right? So what are you doing differently that motivates and gets these kids on board?
So I think we talked a little bit about just showing people an opportunity. It's like you're not going to just come in here and just do dishes. You can have that mentality, but we're gonna do everything that we can to teach you what it looks like to be in a business, what it looks like to be a part of a team. I look for people that have experience as team members, whether that's a club or sports or whatever. Somebody that if I had to write my schedule and put them on the schedule and I was working 25 to 40 hours with them a week, I wouldn't dread walking into the door. We have a phrase, and this is not, maybe not politically correct. We ask our employees to be faithful, available, and teachable. FAT. So faithful is just you're not going to hurt the company. We're not going to hurt you. Available. Hey, when you say you can work, we want you to be here. And when you got sports, we're going to make sure we respect that. And then teachable is my number one. That's you can do a lot of things. I'm not willing to be able to teach somebody to want to learn more. So if I have somebody sitting across from me, they're checking all the boxes, but they're just like, hey. Just get me started. I know what I'm doing. It's like, dude, you don't know what you're doing. And it's similar in me. If I was going to another job, I wouldn't know what the heck I'm doing. It's just,
We, at home, we preach that all the time to our kids. At the end of the day, if you're not coachable, if you're playing sports, if you're not teachable in the classroom, you're really on a dead-end street.
For sure.
And that's a challenge for a lot of kids, and especially kids that have maybe a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Because maybe it comes to them easily, so they think they know that. And so, boy, we emphasize it so much. The humble heart to say, teach me more or show me how or whatever is so important.
Yeah, humility is a big thing. And the most humble employees aren't always the fastest, at making the pizza or the cheese coating, but they're typically the ones that stick around the longest and the ones that you see getting, opportunities in within the organization.
Yeah.
So I think some of the stuff you're talking about is really good stuff, and I kind of want to transition a little into your family life a little bit, T. I wanted to kind of bringing that transition, and we could talk. Let's kind of bring up the idea of the work-life balance. Being in a leadership role, you are married. You have two beautiful little girls at home. I think I mentioned that at the very beginning. How does being in a leadership role look and affect your family life?
It's probably the thing that I will be challenged with for the rest of my life. It's the work-life balance, what you kind of talked about. Obviously as men, we are the head of our household. We're the head of our family. We're asked to be and called to be spiritual leaders. We're, physical leaders at times, within the house. But also you're viewed that way at work too. So, we talked about a little like, hey, leading by example and being available. That's a big thing for us. So there are inconvenient times when phones ring and, you gotta attend to it. There's other times when I have to do a better job of empowering my people to say, hey, this problem is not that big of a deal. You don't need to call me, 4 times. Because I've been that person that I just want to do the right thing. So I better call my manager. And I'm sitting at home spending time with my family that I just worked a 9-hour day, and I just want to spend time with them before they go to bed, and then I get that phone call, and it's like, that's not fair to my wife, that's not fair to my girls. I'm really working on, Jim talked about it last week, uninterrupted time where it's just like, hey, I'm going to put my phone away. I'm going to do what I need to do before. I've sat in my driveway for 10, 15 minutes. My wife gets so mad at me, but it's like, I'm going to finish what I need to do here. When I get out of the car, my phone, I'm putting my phone up. And that's something I've had to learn. That is not natural for me. It's like, I can do it all, but my daughters don't care that
they don't care whether you've got a pizza going out.
Exactly.
Well, I think about the curse that you have is one that you are a servant leader. So people have come to realize that they see you having a willingness to do dishes or make a pizza or do anything in the moment. So that also means they get comfortable with you and are willing to, well, just call Tim. Call Tim.
It's a blessing and a curse the humility has to always be there. So it's like, I will do that. But I also, we talk about, hey, show people that you're going to do it with them so that they see you doing it with them, and then you ask them. And then it's a lot easier to ask people to do something when they've seen you do it over and over again with them. Yeah. It's like, I trained you to do this. You are fully capable of doing this. And people want direction. You've talked about this just within the school system. Yeah. Kids want to know what the rules are, and that goes as any employee. It's like people want structure.
Yeah. Don't keep them guessing.
Exactly.
Help them out, show them, and then at that point, I think it is part of being a good leader is then holding them to that. If you save them and rescue them all the time or hold their hand all the time, you limit their potential.
For sure.
They're going to go out there and they're going to make mistakes, and sometimes you don't rescue, right? They call you as you're getting ready to walk in the house, and you go, I'm not going to answer this one.
It happens.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback where it's just like, well, I would have handled it this way, and that's not always beneficial. But at times it's like, I remember my first shift as a manager, and I keep talking. I know we're talking about other things, but just I have some of these memories are coming back. But my first night as a manager at Skyline, it was my first shift. I was so excited. I go in, the power goes out. And if you live in Cleves, you know what that's all about. It's like somebody sneezes and the power seems to go out. But that was a challenge for me. And it's just like everybody's looking at you. And it's time to go. So
And obviously your work schedule. You've made reference to it. It is very demanding for you. And I know recently, with our family, with your girls, you had something kind of come up pretty significant in your life, and dealing with that, but also knowing that you still have a company that you have to assist and run. If you want to talk a little bit about Layla's story, I think it'd be really cool just for our listeners to that you're not just I think Merle the first time I came on called me a young punk, that I'm just some young punk that I can't talk. But I think it'd be really cool just to share a little bit about Layla's story.
I said that mostly out of jealousy.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes, it was out of jealousy.
I used to feel like a young punk. I don't feel that way anymore. So my wife and I both graduated from Taylor High School, high school sweethearts. We have two young daughters, 3-year-old Claire, and then Layla just turned 1 in March. So it's been great. The girls are amazing. When we found out Sarah was pregnant, we were so excited for our second baby. We went to the 20-week ultrasound, and we realized right away that something was off. And we could just tell kind of how people act. You're in that room, and you're just like, oh, yeah, somebody's acting different. So she was born with a cleft lip and palate, and it's like, what the heck is that?
Right.
And it's actually one of the most common birth defects. But that's not what you're expecting when you hear that you're pregnant. So obviously a whirlwind of emotions. Didn't change anything about Layla or how we were gonna treat her, but it definitely throws a wrench in your plans. And you just got to adjust. But something that I have constantly been talking about is a work-life balance. But the challenge of making sure that, hey, that is a priority. That is the most important thing, is caring for your daughter. In the midst of, we opened 2 stores, like I mentioned last year. One was right in the middle of a time when Layla was about to have a surgery. So she had 2 surgeries, less than 9 months. Within her first 9 months of life, she had 2 surgeries. So it's just like, whoa. While also opening these stores. But it gave me an appreciation for my team. I mean, I leaned on my team a lot at work, and they had my back the whole time. And that's kind of where it's like, hey, guys, and I'm not thinking this, but when you look back at it, it's like, I've been able to, show them, hey, I got your back, I got your back, I got your back. Hey, I need your back. Yeah. I need you to have my back. Sorry.
Yeah.
I need you to be able to be there for me. And that was unspoken. It was just like, hey guys, I need you. It wasn't like, hey, remember when I did X, Y, and Z for you?
Right.
It was like, no, like this guy needs us. And I'm very open with that stuff in my personal life with the people I work with. So I think that gives me an opportunity to have those conversations about faith or about family or whatever. Because then I want them to know, hey, I'm a normal person too. I got stuff. We all got baggage going on at home. So that was awesome to have them help me out and see that love reciprocated.
And I remember when you called me and told me, what was going on with Layla, and just like you kind of did, almost downplay it. And obviously, it's easier now looking at the big picture. You guys have gone through a couple of surgeries, and everything is turning out just fine. I remember at the time, you were very upset, and I almost kind of downplayed it in the sense like it is so common. Just like you were saying, it is one of the most common birth defects. But for you at that time, and still today, it is the biggest thing for you and Sarah going through. And I think it's just what you were saying is so important for any guys out there. Like if you're going through stuff, if you have kids that have even if the world would tell you it's very minor, the idea that for you and your wife it may be the biggest thing going on, and how important it is to have people to lean on, to have people, have a family. Not everyone is blessed like we are to have a family, but to surround yourself with good people that can have your back, that can keep you accountable when you're getting frustrated, that can just lend you an ear when you need to call and vent, I think is a really cool, just a challenge for any guys out there. Even if you're going through stuff, here at Rock Solid Family, call Linda and Merle would love to talk to you about anything you have going on. I think it's just to not minimize some of our issues, because just like you're saying, we all have baggage, but sometimes the best way to kind of release some of that baggage and to kind of move past that is to talk about it and to lean on other people. So yes, obviously with Layla's story, what the world may tell you is not that big of a deal just because it is so common. For you and Sarah, it is a huge deal. And I think the way that you have gone through, the way that you have kind of led your family in that regard, yes, those surgeries happen, and just prioritizing that over your work, knowing, just like you were saying, that is the most important thing for you. Although, when you're at work, and I know me personally, it is hard sometimes when you go to work and you have stuff going on at home. Just that idea that we need to, those people that we're working with, they rely on us heavily for that. So kind of leaving that back, and then just like you were saying, when you get home, you're all theirs, and I think that's a great point to talk about.
Yeah, and I think talking about when we found out about Layla's cleft lip and palate, it was one of those things where. Obviously, it's the most important thing, and obviously, it was interesting talking to different people. And no one did this, trying to hurt anybody's feelings or whatever. But it was interesting, people saying, "Oh, it's not a big deal," or she'll have a procedure. It's like she's going to have multiple surgeries for the rest of her life until she's 18. We're going to be at Children's, amazing work there. But it's one of those deals where it's like this is a big deal. It's not a procedure. You're not getting a checkup.
One-time deal, yeah.
It's like it's not a big deal until you hand your 9-month over to a bunch of nurses at the operating door. It's just like but also we're determined to not let that define her. It's like this is going to be how she was born, and we're going to have these surgeries, and it's going to be a part of her life. But we're not going to, when she's 18, we're not going to say, "Oh man, this was you."
Right.
You can look at it and appreciate the steps that we've taken, but I think that's probably the biggest thing with anything. You don't allow that to define you as a person. It's something that has happened. It's something that you were born with, but that's not who I am.
Yeah, so. I just think this stuff is so important in terms of when we actually speak about and now our role as a father. We all pray that our kids are going to be healthy, happy kids, but when they come in this world, we don't know what tools they're going to have to do that. Mm-hmm. So we have to take whatever they are, whoever they are, and just like you said, Tim, it's our job now to say, this isn't going to define you.
Right.
And so now as a father, you have a totally different role. I have a friend that says all of us have handicaps. Yep. We all have, some of us just cover them up better than others.
That's the biggest truth. Yep.
Right. And so for Layla now, a cool part of your fathering is to say, you're the most beautiful girl out there in the world.
Absolutely.
Because we're going to define her beauty and help her start to see that. And the world's not always going to reflect it back to her until she can understand actually what beauty is, the gifts that she has, all of those things. And just, gosh.
Well, and I think, too.
This is a cool time, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about this. Kyle and I have talked about this before. Integrating, Layla has been a blessing in integrating my faith into my work life, probably more than anything else. Everybody knows what's going on with Layla. How are you guys dealing with that? Oh my gosh, what's going on? It gives me an opportunity to talk about my faith. It gives me an opportunity to talk about where Sarah and I, find our footing, with everything in life and how we're going to get through this. Our family, our support, our church family. Been able to talk about my small group a lot at work where it's just like, hey, what's that, So Layla has been a blessing in so many ways within our family, but also I believe, and we were determined to make this be the truth, that she's going to be able to be a blessing to other people too.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Well, we're at a time now we're going to probably start trying to wrap things up a little bit, but I do still have a question that is in my mind. You're in the corporate world. At the end of the day, if we're not making money, if we're not, being successful that way, you and a lot of other employees don't have a job. And so the success of the corporation is vital. And we know that now as a reminder with COVID-19 that, the longer this stuff goes on and our economy is shut down, it's going to have long-term and drastic measures taken because of the economic damage. But with that being said, how do you carry your faith in a business world? Yeah. I mean, you've mentioned some of it with Layla and stuff, but how would I know, or is it important that I know that you're a Christian just by your daily function?
Well, I am a flawed man, so at times it's
like a sailor.
Yeah. It's like, man, I gotta wipe my own eyes to be able to see what. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, I think with everything, it's transparency and just being real. Yeah. I think early on, I learned as a Christian how I act in one place is how I need to act everywhere. And if that's not good, if I'm not proud of that, when I interview people, I tell them, we use positive language here. If I wouldn't say it to my mother, my sister, my brother, my teacher, my preacher, don't say it at work, know? And we talk about being on stage, whether it's at work or as a Christian. And one of the things, it's perception where it's just like, hey, you want to say, hey, I'm a Christian, I'm flawed in this way, I need a savior. But it's also like, hey, I'm a Christian. If he does the wrong thing, whoa, And I think we as believers, we struggle with that at times where it's just like, hey, I want to be real. I am going to screw up. And you just have to be ready and willing to have those tough conversations, I think, at times, because it's like, not everybody's going to agree with you. One thing at work that I've had an awesome opportunity to do is to pray with people. I believe so strongly in the power of prayer. I don't always vocalize my prayers. A lot of times it's me and God just talking. But I've been able to, you work long enough with people, bad things happen to other people too. Yeah. So it's like, hey, there's been deaths with our employees, like their family members, infertility issues, things like that I've been able to physically pray with them at work over the phone, tell them, my small group's praying for you. So I think just not being so closed to the idea of having those tough conversations at times, and how they take that information and how they take that is going to be on them. Your job is to just be real and be transparent about it.
Yeah, and when the faster they see just a genuine, transparent person, I think all of the second guessing and doubting who you are starts to go away.
Right.
When they see how much you really care and just your authenticity, I think that's really important. And that can be hard sometimes if you're in a management position because, maybe
definitely a balance.
You also have to maybe fire somebody sometimes.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
you just fired me and I don't believe you fired me under the right conditions.
And I think grace plays a huge part in just our daily walk with Christ, and also in any kind of leadership position, because you want to be able to say, hey, this is the standard. This is what we need to do. But I understand, we're going to get there. You may not be there right away. So, I think that grace plays a huge part when it comes to that.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, Tim, I appreciate you coming in and just sharing your walk and what you try to balance with home and life and faith and all these things. And I think that that's part of what every one of our strong dads are challenged with out there. And we talked the other day about whether we're chameleon-like, whether we adapt and adjust to the area we're in. And we are called to be a little bit chameleon-like in the sense of Paul says we're to be all things to all people. And that really means to be available, to fit in their world to the sense that they can relate to you, okay? Yeah. But that does not mean to change who you are in God's eyes. Yeah. And so... you're working that balance and just keep doing it. So appreciate that and appreciate you sharing your message here on Strong Dads.
Yeah. I think it's, again, referencing Jim Mansfield, just kind of a big takeaway from this show. I would just encourage you guys, Jim Mansfield made the point that you have to put 5 years in before you start to see the fruits of your labor. Timmy started out as a dish boy. Working at Skyline. And I think it's really cool just to, again, driving home that message. If you are early on in your career and you're struggling, especially now with everything going on in our economy, if you are out there, you are struggling, keep fighting the fight, keep putting in the hard work because it will pay off. It will pay dividends. I think Timmy can definitely attest to that, going from a dishwasher to the COO of a company. Again, Jim Mansfield made reference to that. Starts off, financial struggles happen. Just stay in the fight, keep doing what you're doing. And again, Timmy made reference to it. Have people in your life that you can lean on in those hard times. I think would be great takeaways from this show.
Yeah, Tim, you want any last words you want to get out there to our strong dads?
No, I think Kyle spoke about having your team members, your people. You have to have that, whether it's in work or life. And most of the time I spend so much time with people at work. They are part of my team. They are part of my people that I go to. One of the most rewarding things at work, I had somebody say, why are you so positive? That gave me an opportunity to have that conversation. Sometimes I don't feel positive at work.
Yeah.
But I also think when you surround yourself with a couple people, and those are your people, the people that work for you understand that and see that, and they'll start to recognize it. So.
Yeah. All right. Very good. We're going to wind things up. I just want to say to all you strong dads out there, we do challenge you to be the best leader that you can be in your workplace as well as your home place. And so keep digging in there deep, keep refining who you are. We are all a work in progress. So, one thing we don't want to do is spend a whole lot of time letting you beat yourself up. Instead, identify where you're at, where you're weak, where you're strong, and let's just keep trying to purify and become better at what we are designed to be. As Kyle mentioned earlier, if there's something that we can do here at Rock Solid Families in our marriage and counseling world, if you need some help, give me a call at 812-576-7625. Also, we're getting a good stack of podcasts.
Yeah, we're almost at 50 shows, aren't we?
Yeah, so we're getting close, plus Rock Solid Radio, so we have close to 85 shows there, lots of different topics, so please access those, and if there's something that you find valuable, please take a listen to that and share that. Also, we ask that if you like what you hear, give us a 5-star rating on any of the hosting sites that you use, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Give us a rating. That helps us get our message out and makes it a little bit easier for people to search for us. So thanks a lot for all of you listening. Kyle, you want to sign us off?
I think we should do our sponsors again, Merle.
That's part of your job. That's part of the sign-off.
Yes. Come on. Strong Dads again. Just wants to thank so much Kramer's Beer House and Mansfield Insurance Agency for coming alongside of Strong Dads. Thanks so much for your support. And Timmy, thanks so much for being on our show. Really appreciate it. Go out there and be some strong dads.
Hey, this is Merle Hutchinson from Strong Dads. Strong Dads wants to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency in Bright, Indiana for sponsoring today's Strong Dads podcast. Established in 1981, the Mansfield Insurance Agency has been dedicated to the individuals and businesses in Bright, Indiana, serving clients throughout Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky.